Hello again, social media family. I am coming to you today to talk to you about habit of the week number 51, which is about making wise food choices. The way the habit's actually worded in my book is that if you wouldn't feed it to an Olympic class athlete, then don't feed it to yourself. And that's a pretty high standard to set when we're talking about making wise food choices for ourselves as entrepreneurs. For those of you who are encountering me for the first time, my name is Damian Reed, and I am a performance and freedom lifestyle mentor, coach, and international speaker. And these habits of the week are coming from my Amazon international best-selling book. It was a bestseller in Australia, the US, and Canada. And it's called Cure Entrepreneurialitis, 52 Habits to Earn the Freedom You Deserve. And in my social media channels, we take a look at one habit a week over the course of the year. You can go ahead and track that book down on Amazon. It's available both on paperback and on Kindle. So let's talk some straight talk about this particular habit, because this is a habit that always has me deal with imposter syndrome. And welcome to my living room. This is a place where I like to just kind of chill and have a little relaxing time. And I thought we could have just a straight conversation about this particular habit, because it is not one of the ones that I excel at. And if you've been tuning in over time, you know that what I propose is that as an entrepreneur, we are the sum of the individual habits that we take on every day, every week, and over the course of the year. And so for those of us who are interested in pursuing what I call the freedom lifestyle, and the freedom lifestyle is what you have in your mind when you think about the life that you started your business to have. And every habit that you have will either move you towards this freedom lifestyle, or it'll move you in the opposite direction away from that freedom lifestyle. Consider that there are no neutral habits. It moves you this way or it moves you that way. And every day is an opportunity for us to practice the different habits, whether that be practicing meditation, practicing getting present to our vision, staying true to our values. And in this case, this week, what we're talking about is, what do we eat? And it happens to be number 51 out of 52 habits. It's almost the last habit, because it's a very important habit when we talk about taking care of this thing, right? Call it your skin bag, call it your body, call it, the tool that you use. That's the most important tool when it comes for living your life and also operating your business. And this is a habit that I am not reliable for managing on my own. I love good, rich food. And good, rich food comes with calories. Sometimes it comes with sugar and all sorts of other things that we could get into. Now, I'm not here to have a debate on what is good food, because those of you who are purists will say, like, dark chocolate is great. To me, dark chocolate is horrible, and I will not eat dark chocolate. Milk chocolate, on the other hand, I love. White chocolate, which some people say is not even chocolate, I love that too, right? So I will eat things and I love to eat. So this is not something that I naturally gravitate towards. As entrepreneurs, we need to have a body. One sec. As I put my favorite Starbucks drink into my mouth while we're talking about what we put in our body. As an entrepreneur, we need to be able to call upon our body for high performance. We tend to have demanding schedules. We need to strategize and think, which pulls a lot of neurochemicals, and that needs to be replenished. Sometimes, there's a physical need for us to be able to do endurance over time. There's a reason why so many CEOs participate in endurance sports, because it's an important thing for us to be able to be fit, both in body and mind. So there's that old adage about you are what you eat, right? And there are so many habits before habit number 51, where I scientifically look at so many different studies about what happens when you're operating in a detrimental performance state. When you're operating with a lack of sleep, when you're operating with impaired in terms of, it just went out of my head, but like sleep is a good example. Let's just stick with the one example. So, in the case of sleep, you could be operating with a lack of sleep and thinking you're operating perfectly fine, but you're actually operating detrimentally and causing a lot of negative performance and subpar performance, and you're putting it out into the world thinking it's totally okay. So the one thing I want to say about, what making wise food choices is I am a firm believer, and this is where I stand on the matter, that there's no right way to do this. I know there are a lot of advocates for this kind of diet and this kind of eating and so forth. I don't believe in that. I don't believe that, you have to do it a certain way. I've seen so many different people accomplish what they want to accomplish in terms of taking care of their body, in terms of being healthy by doing it so many different ways, that I think what's important is that you find something that really works for you. It drives me absolutely nuts when people are so rigid about a solution to a problem that they tend to believe it's the only solution to the problem. There's usually, in my experience, many different ways to approach a situation that can accomplish the result. And if we keep our minds open, we can accomplish what we want to accomplish, sometimes in ways that we haven't even imagined. So one of the things that we deal with as entrepreneurs, of course, is that we tend to have pretty busy schedules, and that's a challenge. And how do we, navigate that? So in the book, I actually make some suggestions. And again, look, these are not the right suggestions, but let me give you, they're like 7 different ideas about ways to handle this time challenge that we usually have. So number 1 is get into the habit of planning your meals in advance. If you do that, then you set yourself up to win. Most of us go into the week knowing what our meetings are. We've got an idea of what, generally speaking, what our week's going to look like and so forth. Well, why not bring the same planning principle to your meals so that you can do it without having a lot of thought? And the planning in advance actually saves you time in the long run. Number 2 is to create a menu for the week for some of all of your meals. So if you create that menu, you know what you're eating when you're eating it, then that again helps you plan. It means that you can look at, okay, well, I'm gonna, I can cook this, I can cook chicken here, and I'm gonna have it 2 or 3 different ways over the course of the week. So when you plan out the whole week, for some of all of your meals, it assists you in making sure that you can optimize the efforts that you have. Number 3, watch for times in your calendar where you may be crunched for time and tempted to go with some kind of a fast food option. So you can see this in advance. You can see where, oh my gosh, I've got myself scheduled back to back for like 6 hours straight. When you can see in your schedule that you're going to be crunched for time, and where we naturally want to go is, what can I grab? What can I just, and for me, that usually means I give in to a drive-through. And then when I go through the drive-through, I'm going to be like, oh, well, what's the most healthy thing I can get? Except that thing is loaded with salt. It's my calorie. I do a calorie thing. I like calories. I'm a counting person. So not that everything is about calories, but I do follow a certain amount of calories, and then healthy within that. But fast food options tend to be higher in terms of they've got sauces and things to add in that tend to increase that. Now again, this is not my area of expertise. Okay, so this is me researching, talking to people, coming together with different ideas. So instead of going with that fast food option, you can plan something else instead, like leaving extra room in your day to pack a lunch or a snack. You could have that with you and you could pull that out while you're on the go. All right. Number 4 is resist the temptation and quick fix of skipping a meal, especially breakfast. Now, I do skip breakfast because I do intermittent fasting. My first meal of the day is usually between 11:30 and 12, but watch for the temptation of skipping meals, right? So it's really easy. We're on the go. I was with a client one time. We were in a meeting. It was like 3 or 4 in the afternoon. And I was like, okay, what? I didn't notice you didn't eat anything today. And we're like, oh yeah, well, I had this. And it was like, it was a cup of coffee. And that's all she had for the entire day. It was 4 o'clock. Your brain can't function if it's not being fed. So all you're doing is creating another detrimental situation that you're going to perform at subpar performance and fool yourself into thinking that you're doing actually okay. All right. So that's number 4. Number 5, plan to get up 30 minutes earlier and go to bed 30 minutes sooner to create time in your calendar for a proper breakfast, if you're going to be someone who's going to eat breakfast. Okay. Number 6, solve the challenge of time to prepare breakfast by having protein shakes or smoothies. Again, this is a suggestion from other people. I have yet to find a protein shake or a smoothie that I can consume. The texture of it makes me want to vomit, so that is not my thing. But I know people who live and die by protein shakes and smoothies, and if that works for you, go for it. And then finally, number 7, keep healthy snacks at home and with you for those unexpected situations where time's scarce, right? So you just pack some healthy stuff that is non-perishable, or if you want to keep rotating, like just have some stuff with you that you could pick on, nuts, berries, etc., whatever that is for you, whatever works for you, so that situations where time actually does get scarce and the unexpected, you've got some food there for you. All right, so those are some suggestions that you can take on. And again, I'm going to say this is not the answer, right? I'm not saying that this is the answer to whatever it is you're dealing with. Those are just some things. Like if you notice, like a couple of those are like, oh yeah, I think I could try that. It might make a difference for me. Then do that. I've got clients who have hired cooks to come in and support them in cooking for themselves and their family, so that they free up that time. And they don't necessarily cook all the meals for the week, but they cook a certain amount of meals for the week, and then they've got that handled so that they don't need to do that. So there's all sorts of different ways, as I said, to handle this. There's no one right solution to it. I usually have a health or nutrition coach when I'm getting serious about this area in my life. And you may or may not have caught a post that I posted earlier this week on this, but I am part of this mastermind group that I created. Like 2 years ago, I wanted to be a part of a mastermind the way it was originally conceived by Napoleon Hill. So I created this group. And anyway, so I've participated in this group now for 2 years. And one of the women in the group is a holistic nutrition and health coach. And we create these massive promises every year, right? Like when we create the promises seem really big. But once we get into the year and we start accomplishing things, like somebody's shared that they've accomplished so far 25 out of 29 promises, and we've still got 2 months left to go in the year. So it's just amazing when people are supporting each other inside of that environment, what actually can get accomplished. Anyway, the one of the promises that I made in this area was that I want to be at 200 pounds or less. And that means me losing 24 pounds between the beginning of this week and the end of the year. That's the big goal. And, that means managing properly and so forth. And I'm going to do everything I have to do. And if I hit the 24, great, but I'm not going to starve myself or be ridiculous about it. So we'll see. And I do, one of the women in that mastermind is I started with her this week as my coach, because I'm serious about this, right? And I've been diddling around with it for the entire year. And man, oh man, I got a message from her. So last night I went out with one of my business partners. We went to a wine bar. There was white bread on the great French bread and olives on the table. And I was a little hungry. I just started eating the French bread. Before I knew it, I had 8 pieces of French bread. And then we had wine and we had some, shared some hors d'oeuvres. And, I got a message today that was really funny. And she said, the white bread was 600 calories that went straight to your ass. And that's what I need. I need someone to say, hey, look, like you can go out, you can have a glass of wine. Like she said to me, I had 2 glasses of wine. She said, like, have a glass of wine and then second glass have Perrier, right? Like, so you can still enjoy it and that's what I need. I need someone who says to me, for example, said, take the lemonade out of your Starbucks drink. That reduces the amount of sugar that I have. And then the next step, reduce the size of the Starbucks drink so that it's even less, right? So that's the kind of person I need to work with me when I get into this, because I'm not a cold turkey, make all these radical changes kind of person. And she works so great with me. And I always see results with her. So inside of this habit of the week, do what you need to do, right? Do what you need to do to make the difference for yourself. If you're carrying a little extra COVID weight, if you're, whatever that is for you, if you're not at your ideal, if you're not fueling yourself well, do what you need to do. If you need to get a coach, get a coach. If you need to follow a program, whatever it is. All right. And I wish you luck in practicing this habit. If you've got any questions, if you've got comments about this video, I love to hear your comments. Just post them in whatever social media platform you're watching this on. We'll always get back to you if you're posting questions. And stay tuned for next week's Habit of the Week. Thank you for being here. And I don't take your time for granted. I love you. And we'll talk to you again real soon. Thanks. And bye for now.